Hey Ron, it's Kai, and today it's another Stream Tuesday, but this one's kind of more interesting, right? A lot of people are way more interested in this one because it's revealing the rest of the overtriggers for the rest of the nations. So we'll do a quick recap of the first two, then we'll talk about the new ones, and then we'll talk about overtriggers in general and finish it off with some other stuff. So first we have the Dragon Empire one. This was revealed ages ago. Just restand your Vanguard. Pretty strong, it's pretty good. The Dark States one was revealed very recently. This one just gives, for the rest of the fight, your Vanguards get 10k in a crit. So no matter if you ride it or not, a lot of people have been saying if you rewrite it, you lose the... No, it's just for the fight, all your Vanguards get 10k in a crit. So it doesn't matter if you rewrite it or not, it's always going to come with 10k in a crit during your turn. All right, now let's move on to the new stuff. We have Branchgate. So this one is Star Dragon Deity of Infinitude. Elder Breath. This one is just double the power and critical of all your front row units until the end of turn. So this one is pretty wombo combo. Okay, so if you trigger it early, it doesn't do much. It just basically means you get a crit, and likely your opponent can't guards to take 2 damage. But mid game and onwards, this will really just randomly win you the game, because with the amount of defense we currently have in D, you're just gonna everything's randomly gonna get 2 crits. If they're like on 3 damage or more, they're likely just have to eat 1 and they just die. That's pretty much it. They no guard your Vanguard, they're probably dead, right? Because you have triple drive. And likely we're gonna get the second set of crits. So it's gonna be 8 crit, you trickle 2 crits and you're probably dead. So pretty kind of lame. In premium, this is also gonna be pretty lame. You're just gonna, again, the situation is mid-game, randomly trigger this, and you just win. So, kind of bad. I guess, like, for things like Nova Grapplers, it's like, you know, because you have to attack with Vanguard first to get the full effect. But things like Dimension Police, this really does it well, because, you know, D-Pole in Premium drive checks, like, X times, so they're quite likely they're going to trigger this. Or they have a high chance of triggering it, and then suddenly their 6 crits become, like, I don't know, 12 crits or something, and then you're just dead. And then, like, not Novas, Chaos or Link Joker in general, they have pretty weak power, so if they trigger this, suddenly they become really, really scary. So in Premium, this is still pretty good, but I don't want to see this happening in D, where, like, you're playing as a guy, and they just like, oh, triple drive, this comes out, you're dead, alright. Next, we've got the Ketter Sanctuary one. Light Dragon Deity of Honors, Amatinoa? Until the end of turn, you also perform drive checks for the battles your rear guards attack. For the battles, okay, so basically your rear guards perform drive checks, okay? So this one is pretty good in D as well, in standard, because, you know, Bastion, everything's a grade 3, so everything does twin drive. And then you have kind of ways to look at the top card of your deck by splashing in the top deck checks from the hexagonal sorcerers. So you at least have some type of manipulation there. But, you know, drive checking rear guards are pretty good. You just add cards to your hand. You add needed cards to your hand. More cards to your hand means slightly more defense, means you can last a bit longer. And then, yes, like, Bastion just has a lot of grade 3s, right? In Premium, I know a lot of people are starting to complain about this in Premium. Or they've complained about Ultima with overtriggers. Ultima basically means you're dead. But with this, it means they're super dead. You know, they're confirmed dead, so you don't really need to think much about it. I think people who are trying to buy out, like, Platina and stuff, because this with Platina is an infinite loop, because all your drive checks become checked top 2, and then, you know, you can call 1, so then that gets that effect, and then you can drive check with that, and look at top back, you know. So it just basically calls a bunch of stuff, and this makes it so, like, all your regards do that, and then since you're Excel, you have a lot of regards, so you're very dead. But again, that comes down to that specific point in time where you use Platinum skills, and then you likely go into Spear X, or something like that. I think that's the only point when you can do that. You go into Spear X, and then you triple drive, you trigger this, and you're, oh, time to win. So yeah, I think this one can be pretty dumb. You know, it can be pretty dumb already. You can stack this with Ultima, and things like, with like a Hamiel, you know, I think Angel Feather has their new high guard restrict power with, you know, crits and stuff to try to one-shot you. Well, this will definitely make that one-shot way better and way stronger. So yeah, this you're just dead. You're just dead. If you're trying to, like, right now, if you're trying to build, like, decks to manipulate this trigger, then, you know, well, get your Ultimas, but if you've reached Ultima, the game is likely to have ended. So that's basically what I'm saying. The only thing that this is really, really lame for is OTT, right? Because you can manipulate top cards of your deck to try to manipulate the chance of you triggering this trigger more, right? So then you go, okay, I'm gonna trigger, I can play grade 3s. Like, OTT kind of can play high grade 3 counts in a premium as well. So this just makes their killing turns way more stronger, right? Like, what, like Ichitom? Or Ichitom with drive checks? Wow. Or like just Ichikishima in general, plus anything. Or, you know, you're going for a Momo turn, you know, big stonks, big attacks. Yeah, so this one generating a lot of buzz, but it's an overtrigger. That's basically what they are. I mean, if you trigger this in the early game for like any like premium or D, it's just trash. Doesn't even give you a crit. So it's just pretty much 100 million power, right? At least the other ones have given you something. Yeah, so this one doesn't give you anything unless you have a Regard in the front row, which is not as likely. And then next, well, lastly, we have Stoica's one, which is Source Dragon Deity of Blessings, Blessed Favor. All right, weird name. Draw a card, choose one of your units, and it gets a critical till the end of turn. Then all your front row units gets power plus 10,000. So it is basically every trigger. It is all triggers in this one trigger. In terms of design, I guess this is kind of late. Oh no, it has I forgot to mention, it also heals, right? I said all triggers, but you know, the tweet can only have 140 characters. So yes, if your damage zone has more cards than your opponent, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. So yeah, it is all triggers. Kind of a bit lazy design, I guess. It's just doing everything, but in terms of triggering this early, it's kind of okay. You know, it's you get a draw, you get a crit, you get 100 million and 10 power. If you have like nothing on the front row, then whatever, you got a draw and a crit. That's already better than a lot of other triggers, right? And then you also get a heal if you have more damage than your opponent. Likely you have like the same. So yeah, you can at least do a heal. So overall, these 5 triggers, some are better than others. Maybe I'll do a video like ranking these triggers later and talking more about it. The one thing I just want to say though is that yes, a lot of people have been saying overtriggers, you know, they're just one trigger, you know, you're likely just good at damage, you know, and you might just draw it. It's just one trigger. What are the chances of triggering? And that's fine. It's true, right? You know, you're gonna play like 100 games in like a year, or maybe not a year, maybe 2 months, right? And you know, this overtrigger might just decide like a couple of them. Might decide like maybe like 8 of them, right? Or you just trigger this and you win, right? But the problem is, what happens if you go to a tournament and first round your opponent triggers the Dark States overtrigger on his first turn, and you just die from the pressure, right? Is that a good experience? I don't think it is, right? You could totally outplay your opponent, but you could just still lose because your opponent overtriggered you. And I know like Vanguard kind of has a bad rap amongst the I want to say lesser skilled players where it's just a trigger fest and it's all about the double crits and all that. This doesn't help that image. And this is actually something that even stronger players will have problems playing around, because one, the chance it happens is low, and two, there are a lot of times when you just can't play around it. You know, you say null the overtrigger, well, you just don't have a null, and sometimes that's what happens. You have to play your best, and you know, a lot of times playing around that overtrigger just isn't the highest priority because you just cannot, right? And if your trip to Japan is decided on your opponent just randomly trigger an overtrigger, that one game, you know, out of X, because that's just how the cookie crumbles. I mean, you could just say, well, you know, he played his best, blah, 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 but he lost because of the overtrigger, so, you know, it wasn't his fault. But the fact is, you lost something after traveling X kilometers to that location to play it competitively, right? So that's still my gripe with overtriggers, you know? Vanguard is not a trigger sat game, at least before this. And of course, this is still a low chance of happening, but you know, when it's just adding to that. It's adding to that trigger sack potential idea, right? Moving on though, there are some other cool stuff that we haven't shown. So they've shown us the Yu family. Yeah, pretty nice, but nice stuff. This is Natsuko, this is Yukiko, and this is Akiko. So I think Bushi Matt talked about it. You know, Natsuko is summer, Yukiko is winter, and Akiko is autumn. So it's like it's just the seasons, you know, seasons. But it's if it was in kanji, that'll be Horobi. Does it mean Yu is spring or? I don't know. And then lastly, they shown us this new Trickstar DSR. So this kind of reminds me of like the Pokemon alternate arts, which look really nice, like the full art. You know, you see those full art Marnies, those full art trainers, they look really cool. It is cool. And what's cooler, right, is that the foiling for this is really good. Let me let me show you the foiling. Look at how flashy it is, right? It's got the circular foil. It's a nice one. Oh, let's go back a bit more. Yeah, we can look at this nice foiling. It's really good. And this is the kind of stuff that I like, you know. This makes high rarity some stuff quite worth it. So I hope they do more of this. I don't know if I can afford it, but you know, if they print one per box, one per case, it won't be one per box, one per case, then you know, the rich people can put their money in to support the game, right? To support the game. So that's it for now. Maybe I'll do something about like ranking overtriggers and all that later on. But yeah, so far we know all the effects of the overtriggers. I've kind of talked about a quick talk about, you know, things I dislike about the overtrigger idea, but let me know what you guys think of the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.